What is it? What has happened?
This was not for you, Javi.
We are living in the renaissance of open-world games, vast sandboxes where player choice reigns supreme. There are tales, tasks, missions, and objectives to achieve, but users are free to do it at their own speed. The finest open-world games provide gamers their flexibility to do whatever they want, whenever they want, in a variety of settings ranging from fantasy kingdoms to virtual cosmos, from urban cities to post-apocalyptic hinterlands, and provide a fascinating and satisfying environment for their self-guided journey. It's never too early to start keeping track of what video games you'll be playing in the months ahead. If you're looking for some 2020 video game titles to keep an eye on, this list is a good place to start, especially if you prefer open-world games. In this list, we'll highlight some of the most anticipated games to date. Number 10. Spider-Man Miles Morales. When Marvel's Spider-Man debuted on the PlayStation 4, it was a huge smash, so it wasn't surprising to learn that a second installment was on the way. The success of Insomniac Games' first game would be enough to justify a follow-up. However, don't anticipate this to be the game's official sequel. Instead, this will be a single installment, possibly with a lesser scope than Marvel's Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. This game was first revealed during the PlayStation 5 broadcast event, which showcased video game titles that will be released on the next generation platform. There isn't much information about what gamers may expect this time around, besides playing Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Number 9. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing has been a Nintendo fan favorite for years, and it's really simply a relaxing simulation game. The game places players in the role of a new resident of a specific location, and it's up to them to keep their home in order and socialize with NPCs from there. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, for example, players relocate to a deserted island and are tasked with cleaning it up as they steadily develop a settlement. This game was supposed to be out in 2019, but Nintendo decided to postpone it until 2020. Up to this point, we've only seen one video for the game online, which was released as part of Nintendo's E3 2019 Direct, and it looks like this installment may include some new features. Take the workshop, for example, where players can gather resources and turn them into specialized tools. From what we can see, the gameplay has changed a little. It's starting to resemble Harvest Moon in style, but we're not complaining because both franchises have been fantastic. Number 8. Ghost of Tsushima. The game takes place in 1274 on Tsushima Island, and players take on the role of Jin Sakai, the last samurai fighting against the Mongol invasion in Japan. Because players are outnumbered and classically trained, the only way to overcome the odds is to master the new fighting style described as the Way of the Ghost. This will be a third-person video game with a focus on being sneaky while roaming the vast landscape and taking out the dispersed Mongol hostile. It's worth stepping out into the open world because the game has a number of side tasks, but details are still scant at the moment. Number 7. Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. In 2020, the long wait for a successor to the critically acclaimed medieval RPG Mount and Blade Warband has been ended. This title takes place a few hundred years before the events of the last edition. Aside from the multiplayer warfare, where players can engage in sieges and battles, gamers will also find a campaign mode. In this mode, you'll be able to travel the open world, seek out different settlements, assist NPCs, rob thieves or innocents, and participate in enormous battles, either alone or with a group of troops eager to give their blade for a small fee. Number 6. New World. New World is an Amazon Game Studios MMORPG that takes place on an island full of mineral-rich magic. As a result, a number of people set out to explore the island in search of the miraculous items. In addition to the ruthless humans who stalk the island, there are supernatural entities and beings who guard what they believe are rightly theirs. As an MMORPG, you can expect a lot of content to read as well as a lot of places to visit. There are various territories, each with its own settlements and forts. While there is no recurring payment system in place for players to keep track of, there is a one-time fee to unlock the regular base game. Number 5. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Fans of the Assassin's Creed franchise have been eagerly waiting for Ubisoft to deliver a new installment. The video game development firm decided not to release a new installment in 2019, thus we were exposed to Assassin's Creed Valhalla Valhalla after a year delay. The video game is the latest installment in the franchise, and players will assume the character of Eivor, a Viking who appears to be under the influence of the Templar Order. Because we're still early in the game announcement process, there hasn't been a lot of information released. With that said, we just finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey, one of the franchise's largest games, and we expect this installment to be just as big. The game will transport players to Norway and medieval England in 873 AD. We know there will be 4 kingdoms to visit, as well as a plethora of other interesting destinations. Number 4. Watch Dogs Legion. Watch Dogs Legion, the third main installment, which was released in 2020. This time, the game is set in a fictionalized version of London, where DedSec is investigating a new regime that has assumed control of the United Kingdom. The game was introduced at E3 2019, and it includes one unique feature that Ubisoft was excited to share with the audience during that event. Unlike previous iterations which focused on a single protagonist, Watch Dogs Legion will have an almost infinite number of playable characters. At times, the game's purpose will be to recruit new players to help the DedSec cause. Take, for example, the gameplay clip showed at E3 2019, in which the protagonist goes on the quest for a citizen who knows how to hack drones. We don't know how extensive the game world will be yet. The developers have added a variety of places and areas for players to explore. Number 3. Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters is being developed by the same team that worked on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Players will assume the character of a young child who is the world's final hope for battling a terrifying monster known as Typhon in the game. The gods have been defeated, but they have given our protagonist the tool he needs to combat the monsters that prowl the plains. One of the first things you'll notice is how similar the game's aesthetics are to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Similarly, this game will be situated in an open environment with not only mythological creatures to battle, but also dungeons to explore and puzzles to solve. Number 2. The Outer Worlds: Peril of Gorgon. Obsidian Entertainment's The Outer Worlds was a great RPG hit in 2019, and we'll be getting a storyline DLC in 2020. It'll be the first of 2 planned DLC expansions for the storyline. With the Peril of Gorgon, players are thrown immediately back into the game with their crew, rather than being thrown into a new character or scenario that is separate from the main campaign. We don't know much about it yet, but it appears that the game will return players to a mission with a lot of choices and consequences. In reality, there will most certainly be a number of options accessible, including the power to simply murder everyone before embarking on any quest. This game is also set on a new plant called Gorgon, which appears to have a variety of rugged terrains to explore. Number 1. Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 has been a hotly anticipated video game. The developers of the popular RPG series The Witcher are releasing a futuristic open-world dystopia for players to enjoy. Players will assume the character of a mercenary who relies on his or her street cred to obtain fresh jobs and offers from various companies in this game. A big part of the game is also focused on choices, allowing players to select the best approach to handle the scenario in their perspective. This game is similarly situated in an open-world area that appears to be well populated. According to the footage released thus far, there look to be a lot of NPCs going about their everyday lives, and the city itself will be plenty of buildings for players to explore. With so much anticipation for this game, we're hoping that the renowned production team can offer a fun and exhilarating game that will keep us entertained for hours. That's it for today's video. Let us know in the comment section down below which is your personal favorite game. Do share this with your friends and family, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching this video till the end, and we will meet you in the next one.